September, doing it slightly different, but basically same sort of setup in that, I'll reference some of the cards as they blend together. But anyway, what I'm doing right now is just the Celtic Cross. So we are looking at you in the main energy, and this is going to be where things are coming in. The current energy, of course, is the Magician. So this is really where, things are kind of the heart of the matter, what you're going to be dealing with in the month of September. I pulled clarifiers as well. What's crossing you, or at least what's the obstacle or what's supportive of that energy of manifestation with the Magician. And certainly, of course, with the Two of Cups, we're also looking at the energy of past conditions, or what's the foundation that sort of upholds the energy and kind of stations you so that you can go forward, or influences it. We also have what was the recent past, and what are some of the residual energies that might be coming in there. And then, of course, in the near future, this is also with some clarifiers, but the main energy, of course, isn't around family or celebrations, that kind of thing. But there's other clarifiers, which I'll get into. Those are some challenging cards. I'll just speak to that. And then, of course, we also have the layout on the side here. What's the current position, which is you as the Queen of Pentacles, and what is going to be the influencer, or in some way, some kind of obstacle or challenge, which is going to be the Devil card, clarifier below. And we also have hopes and fears, and then we also have final outcome, again with a clarifier. And I also have some cards here that speak to just what would be advice for you, and then there was also some additional clarifying cards here for a death card that I had seen come out. And then we'd also have what is your lesson for the month of September, or what is tying into that lesson, whether that energy is something that moves further out. It does take time to kind of move through our lessons, but every time I see a new beginning, that to me really is an indicator that there's some kind of a lesson that you have learned, and that is coming into assist you in going forward anyway in some way. So again, a new beginning simply means you've learned some kind of a lesson and you're ready to move on with that lesson into the next stage or level of life. Again, you can choose to relive it again and not use that lesson, but you have learned it in some respect. So anyway, we'll just get right into it. So what I see here, again, Magician card is certainly speaking to some very strong energy around, I'm just going to pull these up here for a minute. Okay, so the Magician energy definitely speaks to, you are speaking from your higher self position. So this is you where you're tapped in. This is where you're able to realize your wishes or dreams or goals or your manifestations, certainly through levels of determination and power. And I also see so many cards here around family and stability and practical maneuvers and grounding. So that seems to be a part of how this manifestation will arise. There's also energy here around keeping stability. So I feel like that, of course, is the untapped talent, with the Magician card, that you will, have to figure out as you go through. But it seems to be somehow influenced around very strong energy around your stability. Your foundation is where you need to begin from. That seems to be where you need to plant yourself first. So not taking off until all of that is sort of grounded in your space. So there's also energy, like I said, around it's not really a close connecting card, but there may be some kind of residual energy around this. But we've got the Magician, and of course with the Devil card, there could be some elements of manipulation or something that you've had to deal with or counter. I don't see it as the strongest energy, but the main energies out for sure are all about justice, the Magician, so everything is kind of turning in your favor. And even with the energy below as the past condition, it's Two of Cups. So again, your main energies out here are that you are dealing with, maintaining the balance, keeping things going in the right direction here. So, and we'll get to the crossing energy and so on in a minute. Okay, so what I see here is this is also where you're tapping into, bridging the gap, as they say, between heaven and earth. Trying to manifest your goals into the physical world by tapping into your universal energy. So it's about, how do I come to a conclusion or find an answer or a solution? Some of you may sleep on it. Others, it may come through synchronicities, things lining up, which draws attention to a particular area, things along that line. But either way, however it resonates for you, it's unique to each of you. And again, this is this is more or less, I view tarot as operating on the subconscious level. And I feel that, whatever you are tapping into on some level, whenever you find the reading, is the message that you are, you're needing to hear at this time. Because on some underlying, below the surface level here, this is where you're actually connecting to a part of yourself that already knows the answer. So, as I said, some of you, this energy may be further out, some of you it may not even apply, but for those that it actually resonates for, just remember this is operating within the subconscious. So, something that you already are tapped into but haven't yet been able to realize as this energy is brought forward. So, anyway, again, this is, converting the energy from the universal world into matter. So being able to transfer it into something more concrete, basically, is the magician. So again, we also have a lot of energy around maintaining balance, not only just with the fours, but we also have and this is the forward energy with the balance of you being at the helm. So this is you feeding into your own potential, but doing it from a very just, fair-minded place. So I feel like you have all the tools, of course, with the magician, that's what it's indicating. You have all the tools to translate your ideas into a reality, but this is also, where a dream can happen. Something that you're really wanting to happen, you're actually starting to create some kind of balance around this. So again, this is pulling in the energy from, the spiritual, the physical, the mental, and the emotional. It's relying on all those elements to be able to tie it into a very secure plan, so where you're actually starting to, but again, you're securing your foundation primarily is what I see in September. And then you'll be able to start to implement more of your plans. But your plans obviously are starting to, you're coming up with a plan to create the foundation, and then there'll be another plan that kind of goes forward to execute the actual vision. So right now I feel like you're focused more so on your actual balance and keeping the home front and everything under control so that you are able to make the necessary changes going forward. When I also see, again, the magician is a pretty powerful card. So I feel like you are, and as well, so is the Libra card, coming through with justice. So I feel like you're in a space of empowerment where you feel like you have the ability, you've conquered so much that you feel like you have the ability to really right the wrongs or make some changes, or you have some kind of evidence or sense of your own power now coming through because you've overcome some things in previous months that help you to realize that you have, you can rely on your own advice. You can rely, and it's not to say that you're not going for other advice or you're not going to get other training or mentors or anything like that, but you also have the ability to redirect yourself as you need things, because that's what the magician is, pulling in the things that they need to be able to, draw in whatever is relevant for the moment to, find a resource. But you are embracing your own power. And again, it's where you're in that space of weighing one thing against the other. You're using your rational mind. You're not in any way out of control or high risk taking or anything like that in the month of September. So I feel like you're trying to create some new lease on life with that magician energy, and it's also a time for preparing, as I said, whether this is a link up, because the past energy here with the Two of Cups, and of course we did have a clarifier there with the Ace of Cups, so there may have been some new start that you're kind of relying on to pull this forward. But either way, I do feel that that combination, can indicate for some of you that there may be some kind of a new lover or new friend or new, significant connection that's going to be of assistance to you going forward here in aiding you with this magician energy. We also have that energy of, like I said, the magician is pretty powerful in itself with determination and willpower, and it is a sign that you have everything to kind of make things happen, but you do need to still implement the action, because this is working with the air, the mental, the energy around you from the universe, all of those things. So you have to put it into concrete form. But again, I feel like you're weighing one thing against the other to be able to do that. So, but again, this is also that space of just looking around at some of the other cards here as well, just to sort of get a sense of where this is headed there. Because like I say, the Magician is a pretty significant player. Sorry guys, some noise around there. It's a pretty significant player, but again, just on its own, the Magician is also speaking to, you're really committed to making some big changes in your world here. Because that Magician is an energy of being mentally agile. It's about connecting one thing to the other. It's creative intelligence. It's, having that psychic connection. It's all of those things. It's about that potential, and knowing that you actually have enough of the starting points to really spring forward with. But this is about where you start to notice synchronicities when you have the Magician present here, and then we've got the Libra card out here as well, so it's an empowering energy, but it's about being able to sculpt a sense of order, a sense of organization. It's really, like I said, more of that energy around success is built around, weighing one thing over the other. Should I do this versus that? Here's the pros, here's the cons, that kind of thing. So it's realizing your own potential in some way and kind of recapturing something of an old skill, and really using that in a significant place where you can move something ahead anyway. But like I said, the Magician is definitely where, and especially when I see it coupled with the Justice card, this is about you being able to clear up the problems through a slow process of alternating between, what do I need to do to move ahead, move something into the next phase. How do I incorporate the lesson? It's that kind of energy. You're using the powers of creation. You're drawing things to you. You're finding answers to your questions. It's all of those things. And you're doing it from a very empowered place, like I said, because this is a place of knowledge. This is a place of, being very balanced and doing things from a righteous base. Justice card is, like I said, a very significant card to pull you through. If you've got legal issues, it's also about judgment in your favor, bringing things into balance, certainly about rearranging your priorities. All of those things seems to be kind of the focus. That's what's coming in for you. That's where the possibilities lay. Once you do that, you're going to start to see that there's more of an empowering cycle that, brings you toward the things that you want. So again, it's going to be about, once you have a balanced personality, once you have a balanced foundation, you're going to start to see things, move in your favor here. So again, justice is about preparing to do something, possibly even in a legal sense, but for others, it's just preparing to sign a document or something here as well. But it's about a situation that's coming in that, again, is quite neutral. It's fair-minded. It's going to be things turning in your favor because this is a sense of, being impartial and objective, and you're detached from, things that, a mindset that would be not balanced, right? So because you are using decisions based on facts. You're being, like I said, you're being impartial, and this is that place where it puts you in a strong position because you're also in that space of making choices, like I said, based on compromise. So, and again, there's some cards here as well that kind of speak to, balancing out your books, balancing out your decisions, looking at yourself and your world and trying to find a way to and able to go forward. You're starting to set priorities that create more balance, period. And it seems to be your home front that is the main focus here. So yeah, that's what I would say is kind of that main energy there. And that is the big energy that's out here, because these are the two major arcana. Okay, so getting into what's crossing you. So what is concerning the obstacle here? Oh, and actually, maybe I'll just kind of go into this a little bit here too. So the Magician was also coupled next to the Seven of Pentacles. So again, Seven of Pentacles, of course, is kind of taking a deliberate sit back and, contemplate, how you can manifest something, how you can bring it into, some kind of level of actionable, concrete manifestation. But either way, it's taking stock of all your efforts, and then you're going to make a decision and move on a path and try a new approach or whatever it is for you. But either way, like I said, the thing to remember with the Seven of Pentacles is that success takes time and effort, and you may have some obstacles and some setbacks here. I feel in September, not that you haven't learned lessons, you have, and that's probably where that comes into play. Whatever big changes, I do see there is going to be some changes on your home front. And I feel like that is for the better, because those changes are going to allow you to, stabilize the home front. So it's introducing new things to the home front, or whatever you consider your foundation. Because right now with that Seven of Pentacles, where the space of September is, you are focusing on your progress, you're focusing on, reevaluating your approach. You're trying to figure out where to put your time and energy, that kind of thing. So I don't see bold actions just at this point for whoever this resonates for, but what I do see here is it's an encouraging trust in your own abilities, be patient, be persistent, as you manifest the goal. The other part of it here is again, what is kind of the obstacle, really, around the Magician is the Queen of Swords and the Eight of Swords. And of course, that's a self-sabotaging energy with the Eight of Swords. What I would still say is that, that energy is still in a space of you being decisive, maybe a little bit standing in your own way kind of energy here. Like I said, because you're maybe a little overactive in the mind, that kind of thing. The Queen of Swords could represent you as well. And again, that it would be the obstacle is to kind of get out of your own head, get out of your own way. But like I said, Queen of Swords with the Eight of Swords means there's a lot of mental thought going on here. There's a lot of concern around something. Not really quite sure exactly what that is, but I suspect, because my other card here was the Four of Pentacles, I suspect that's where the energy is. So I feel that you are wanting to communicate, but maybe there's a reason why you're holding back. With that Four of Pentacles, and for others this is going to be a restriction around money, or again it's a restriction around communication, or it's around both, because normally the Queen of Swords is in a space of being independent and having a sharp mind, but when I see it, and of course logic and rationality, of course that's next to the Justice card, but this, I should mention, is, again, it's a part of the obstacle. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be stuck, because this is self-imposed energy with the Eight of Swords. This is where you think you are, and it's not to say that you have to be. There's no direct obstacle in the way. You just have to get out of your own way. And of course, it goes back to what are the things that you can do to release anxiety, release stress. What are the things that help you to feel more grounded? And of course, it's all the things like getting out, meditating, listening to your favorite music, shifting your body in some strong physical way, cold showers, anything that is more of a physical activity will get you out of your head. Going for a walk, going back into nature, anything, certain smells might trigger, a certain sensation, sound of water, all kinds of things can be, a shift just to draw you back out of, and then once you've broken that mindset, then you're able to move in the direction of another activity. So that puts you back into more forward motion, right? So anyway, either way, again, with that Queen of Swords, it's still about being clear and honest with communication. If that is where the drawback is, this is where you want to be able to, and maybe there is a reason why you're holding back. Maybe you don't know quite what to say in a particular situation, but either way, this is the obstacle, or this is the thing that's around you at this time that is going to be influencing September. So it's something around an interaction for sure, because of that Four of Pentacles. And again, money, it might be also a secondary factor, or it might be just a pullback energy because you're trying to, hold on to your own power. And by doing so, maybe that helps you to get clear on being rational and communicating. Either way, there's some sense of, needing to gain greater control by pulling back. some of the energy. And maybe it's because, as I said, maybe it's because you're not sure about how to approach something in a, in communication. So even though I do feel like you are fairly independent in the month of September, there is a sense of empowerment still here in this energy. But it's still, like I said, just something here that indicates that there is some solutions to problems. But again, part of that is there is a bit of a restrictive energy around your communication. So that is the obstacle. And again, there may be a reason for it. I don't know. I just feel that that is a part of what's happening. Okay, so now we're moving into the energy here with the Two of Cups. And of course, this is the energy of this is what's happening in the past. So, or it's the foundation of the situation. So if as the foundation of a situation, this is where you're coming from. This is the source. This is maybe what's motivating you, is around some significant connection. So again, it doesn't have to be a love relationship. It can be just a significant connection to someone that's important to you. But this is the foundation. This is what you're trying to, or at least this is where it's coming from. There's some kind of influence around a new start. This is what I feel. It's something about wanting a new start with a connection. And it seems to be that there's a little bit of a push-pull around something here. I don't feel like you're in any way out of control or anything like that, but there is some energy of, back and forth around, like I said, restricted communication. There's definitely some, in the near future here, there's going to be some significant changes that have to be made. And whether this is a significant change around you or the home front or within somebody else or whatever this dynamic is with this particular relationship, that is going to be something that comes up here in the near future. So again, the situation that was coming in is going to be about finding balance in a situation, because that Ten of Swords tells me, again, very hard cycle ending. It is a conclusive energy. It certainly does speak to, things kind of wrapping up there, because that Ten of Swords is also that energy of done with... I don't want to say done with all negative, but negative communications is kind of, that's again where the big influence is that's coming in. So it just feels like there's something there about a lot of ending cards here, because there's some dynamics that, and it's around the foundation. It's a pattern of some sort that was coming through. Like I say, a pattern that was coming through in around the family front or the home dynamic. So like I said, Ten of Swords just really tells me that there is a lesson that's been learned the hard way, and I feel like you're in a space now where you're going to be able to see it for what it is, and you're redirecting your energy in the way that you move forward with that. So you're not going to be, and that may be why you're holding back on your communication, because now you're alert to something. You can actually close, a chapter, with that Ten of Swords, because you realize that it's the communication that, maybe you need more information, especially when I did see the Queen of Swords out there. Maybe you need more information coming in, and that's why you're holding back. You maybe need to research something before you kind of move forward. So, like I said, there's a definite reason of some sort, because, as I say, that 10 is around the mental state, it's around conflict, it's around balance has been hard won, let's put it that way. You might have had to do a lot around trying to create balance and maintain balance on a home front or around your foundation to be able to be in this space. So we also have, let's see what else we've got here. I'm just trying to check out. And again, still a lot of cards around 4s and 2s. So it feels like that energy is where things were major out of balance for a period here. And that's what's going on there, is you're really trying to, you've learned some kind of lesson here that you're now implementing now that you have more information. And it may still be that you're trying to gain more information because you've got the Queen of Swords out here, but you're acting from a place where you're still more receptive and you're still trying to take things in to be able to act on something. So we also were in that space here. The recent past was where you were indecisive, not really sure how to go forward here. And like I said, the Two of Swords, the Two of Swords is still in that space of being blocked in some level, on some level, as far as communication goes, where you had to find, there's a stalemate, some kind of stagnancy that was going on there, and that is obviously here because there's some level of healing. So it's like you couldn't really move forward because something around healing was needed to take place. So whether this is you or around a connection, somehow that is what the recent energy was from the past here. So, but there is hope, when that recent energy of being stuck, it's also an inability to go forward because there's conflicting ideas, or there's no negotiation. But there is a sense of now realizing that it's a better decision to move forward rather than stay stuck, because you do have a bit more of a positive with the Star card coming through here. And again, it's like that was what was the issue. You felt you couldn't go forward. There were too many things in the way, definitely around a lot of communication issues, a lot of arguing, that kind of thing. But again, with the Star energy, it's, that you can have faith in yourself, you can have faith in remaining open to new opportunity. It's also about being aware that you can trust in your intuition and overcome the obstacle, of course, but finding your way back to some sense of light, hope, faith, and energy and healing. So that's kind of where things were in terms of the past. Where things are going is with the Four of Wands. So that is, of course, around your home front. It's around family. And whoever family is to you doesn't have to be direct family, but it's definitely around, the near future is speaking to what you're going to be dealing with here. So when I see like I said, the Four of Wands next to the Five of Swords, next to the Five of Pentacles, next to the Five of Wands, and again, these are all clarifiers, and then there's a hope. This to me represents somebody is going to be in a space of, and this could be, again, dealing with a younger person here with that, the Knight of Cups. Could be a relationship of some sort that has gone through a lot of trials and tribulations, a lot of jealousy, a lot of feeling like you were in lack, a lot of financial issues overlapping on that. There's been no real win. Everything has just been about keeping change, keeping, a lot of high anxiety, keeping, nobody's going forward here is what I'm saying with that Five of Swords, all three fives. When I see three fives in here, I can guarantee you there are significant changes taking place, and whether you're in the energy of difficulties, I feel like this is kind of putting it past you in the month of September. There might be still a residual, but the main energy out here is balance. So I feel like this is something that this really been a challenge for you around the home front. But like I said, Four of Wands and Five of Swords, nobody really gained there. Like, it felt like the war was just a battleground and there was no real winners. That's what the Five of Swords is there. So it's about a time now where you can find some sense of joy or harmony in your family life, or in your stability around whatever foundation again is for you. But you've reached some kind of stable point here after, and there is some level of support that is going to be coming in here, because this was really a time where you felt like you were defeated, betrayed, or struggling, and maybe you were struggling to come to terms with, manipulations, or, behaviors and conflict and fighting, all of that. It's where there's been a lot of victimization, a lot of tactics, a lot of things that you've had to do to be able to, a lot of hurt feelings, a lot of, like I said, conflict, betrayal, resentment, that kind of thing that comes up here. And again, you're in that magician mode with that Seven of Pentacles. So you're stepping back from all of that. And there is a period of deliberation. So, I mean, this is where you're in a space of, I just feel like you're in a place where you're quite hurt, or you have been, and now you're more mindful of your actions and unable to avoid causing any harm to others or to engage in all of these things. That's probably why your communication has been stepped back. So, like I said, I feel like that's probably good advice here, because that's going to be where you develop your inner strength to create some stability, when you can bring back your own energy and not engage and know when to disengage, because then that way you can start to, act with more forethought rather than react with what you're being presented with. Because in the moment, the heat of the moment is when you start to see things with all of its complexities, and then your mind sort of, enters in on or weighs in on what you think you're seeing, and it's our own biases and everything else that sort of drums up the level of tension. And then by that point, it's a matter of, are you trying to win, or are you trying to find some kind of negotiation, or you're trying to guilt, or you're trying to, just continue on in the same battle. Either way, there's going to be victims. There's going to be people that are hurt. There's going to be a lot more conflict when you engage, instead of, finding a way to reason it out in your mind, that this is a situation where you actually need to step back. And are you trying to heal the situation? Like, ask yourself those questions. Are you trying to heal the situation? Are you trying to negotiate a situation? Do you have the tools to negotiate the situation? And if so, you would, deal with it one thing at a time. Dealing with all the issues at one point just serves to create a lot more chaos. And then, of course, there's a fallout for all of that. But like I said, 3/5s, you're going to be going through some very big changes if you haven't already dealt with that energy in the near future. So, like I said, I see that there, and I feel like it's a needed change, because there's going to be a lot more. There's going to be a lot more that needs to be considered, and more tools in the toolbox. You know what I mean? To learn how to engage with, I would say, a significant person here. Like I said, 3/5s is definitely, the 5 kind of operates as a midpoint card, right? It's where, you are in a space. Multiple 5s definitely is a life-changing turning point of some sort, and it is going to be around your home front. It's not to say I see losses or anything like that. It just feels like it's operating around the finances. There's a feeling of, trying to regain some sense of stability in terms of communication, trying to put more tools in the toolbox around feelings of lack and self-esteem issues, finding more tools or needing more tools to be able to, know when to engage and disengage, so that there's no, real victors in a situation. But with that Knight of Cups energy, I feel like there's a sense of a new start here. But again, 3/5s is significant enough to know that you are going to be needing some extra tools so that you don't get stuck again. It's important to know that, the areas that are being affected here are money, self-esteem, certainly around communication. So these are things that you can also pick up even on the internet. How do you negotiate better? How do you, draw into a better sense of self-esteem? How do you approach a situation where you are dealing with maybe somebody who has low self-esteem? Maybe it's not you, but either way, however that plays out for you, there's a new development that's coming in here that's going to allow for things to be more. There's more possibilities once you work through all this energy. So the other part of it is being careful about, being too pushy, or being too, not blaming other people, because you want to work smarter, not work harder. You're trying to do things in a balanced way so that you can achieve your desires here, right? So this is about not putting more obstacles in front of you or around the home front. It's about knowing, what is missing and what tools in the toolbox can I bring into it that's not going to set things back? So you can only take control of your own energy here. So obviously you need to step back from everyone and, maybe make some decisions around what you can control in this moment, because, if everything has this energy around setbacks in relationships or in communication, then engaging is not going to be to your advantage if you don't have the proper tools to deal with it, right? So again, one thing at a time, and then learning to accept is really even what counseling and all of those things are. It's about, learning to accept something so that you can make changes in your life that are still within your control. And it's also about, tools in the toolbox. How do you disengage, create more stability? If you can't, make a big enough change in your world with someone else there, what can you do that can, offset that and create some stability for yourself? That helps you to feel more secure. But either way, we'll just kind of move on from that. So then the energy here again, sorry guys, thought maybe the light would help. Let's try. Anyway, so now we're into the Queen of Pentacles energy, and of course this is your current position. So I feel like you being very resourceful. You are in a space of again, it's a lot of receptive energy here. This is about really trying to look at your finances and how to maintain your resources, and how do you, provide more physical or financial security around you. This is somebody who is kind of the working parent. This is the person who is very nurturing and practical, and this is also a time where you're trying to create more flow in your life, and create some more balance. Again, this is what I'm seeing for most of September here is, how do you create more balance? How do you get the most out of that energy? It's also a very powerful card around creating, a caretaking, comfortable kind of surrounding. It's based on your sense of practicality, you being sensible, doing self-care. That's kind of what the energy is, where you're in. That's what I feel is the main energy. You're trying to connect to a more grounded energy, and certainly around, trying to put yourself around things that will help you to create more financial stability anyway. The other part of things, like I said, going forward, the energy around the influence. Sorry, that was this one. Okay, the energy around the influence is, of course, the devil. And the devil in itself can be any kind of chaos or toxicity, things that make you feel bound to something. And the energy around that is still around a Six of Swords. So I feel like you're releasing some kind of toxic energy. And whether this is a Capricorn or whether this is you just dealing with your own chaos and letting some of that go here, in around deep-seated fears or addictions or desires, any of that, this is a space of you releasing something. And again, that's the influence. So you're actually, it may very well be some sense of challenge for some of you still, but again, I don't feel like there's a real struggle. There is a struggle with a toxic thought, that kind of thing, I suppose, but I do still feel like there's development and things going in a positive direction, because you're letting go of some kind of negative pattern or belief. And again, this is the journey, right, towards healing and transformation. So what comes out here next, of course, is the King of Pentacles. This is a really strong card of manifestation here as well. So King of Pentacles is somebody who is, you may have some kind of energy around you where somebody is quite set with money, and this could be a confidant or it could be somebody coming in to help you. But with the Seven of Wands, it's somebody has the upper hand. So in a situation, I feel like that's where things are at. You're still in a really good position. You do have this as coming in as hopes and fears. So I don't feel that it's a fear. Obviously, this is definitely a very good combination. So I feel like you're in the space of your hope is that you're going to be back on track, and that, you're going to be able to achieve some level of success. And it's going to take some courage, assertiveness, and definitely some sense of standing up for yourself, that kind of thing. you are going to have to do what it takes, to create this financial stability, security, success, whatever that is for you. But it definitely is you being able to maintain, right, and rely on yourself. And again, it's through practical, focused goals. You may have somebody here that's coming in to sort of influence the situation, like I said, but I still feel, and this could be maybe some kind of energy around you wanting to be in the pursuit of an excellence of some sort or mastering something. You want to be really good at something. That's kind of what your hope is. The outcome is the moon card. And not only is it the moon card, it's the finishing cycle. So you're almost there around, there's a Ten of Swords, there's a communication issue that is wrapping up because you're at the Ten of Swords. So to me, there's a certain level of mastery here in knowing when to communicate and when not to. This is kind of dealing with the subconscious. You're facing your fears here is what I would say with that moon energy. You're in that space of, I'm in a conquering energy, where I have no problems taking on, something that is deeply rooted in the recesses of my mind. Because, like I say, the moon is where you see half of the light. You're not really seeing everything in its fullest, in that full energy. You don't have complete understanding of a situation, but you definitely have enough that you are able to successfully overcome a situation. And like I said, the world is a finishing cycle, so I just feel like you are in a space of kind of going into a successful completion of a struggle that you were dealing with on a really, like I said, how do I say that? Dealing with the subconscious, dealing with things that were, like a deep-rooted, deep-seated fear. That's what I would say. You are overcoming that now. So something that you might have been fearful about before where you didn't have an understanding, I feel like you do have some sense of understanding now because that combination, like I said, is a new journey. It's a new chapter in your life. This is what the outcome will be, and you're moving toward it, and it's going to be a significant life event, especially when I see it with the moon card as well as the world card. Those are major arcana, and that is a significant life event where there's going to be some kind of a major change in terms of a job or a relationship or a deeper transformation on a personal level. And I do feel like it's more on a personal level here just because of the nature of the cards that I'm looking at here. But I feel like you are making some significant changes within yourself, and the level of changes is pretty, like I said, pretty predominant. It's on more than one level. So now I'm just going to read out the advice cards, and I also had some other cards here that kind of stemmed around what your lessons were in the month of September. So we'll just put these to the side. And just as a side note, I also did look at the bottom cards of the deck, and it was talking about you might be dealing, there's some new communication or energy that's coming in here. Again, government source, or could be something around a level of formality, could be in around a some kind of institution, a job, some kind of quick information that's coming in here in the next short while where there was a level of confusion before. It's now presenting you with more options. Again, 10 of Wands, your energy level is depleted here, and you've got 2 10s. But again, this is sort of at the end of the deck. So these are not sort of it's kind of a trail out energy. So it just feels like the burden has been quite significant here because of the Strength card, and they're all really speaking to the same sort of energy. Okay, getting into the next cards here. So this one is, I'm going to just sort of pull them out this way. This one was actually just clarifying the Death card because the Death card shows up in this deck. And then we also have another deck here which is about the lessons learned. So we're going to start out with I'm going to read these ones because I don't use this deck often enough to have a full understanding of all the cards here. But the Earth Fairy, the Earth Fairy. So the Earth Fairy is actually talking about physical health, grounding, and foundation. So again, it's relating to anything around the physical body. It can also, speak to taking a little more attention for paying attention to you and your health, overall, looking at exercise, diet, sleep, all of those things. It's also about reminding you to get out of your head. It's like the card also speaks to spending too much time analyzing things and ruminating, going over and over and over. And that's what that Eight of Swords also spoke to in the tarot deck that we did just moments ago here. So again, it's reminding you to get into your body, do something for your body, stop over analyzing, and really, gardening, do anything, walk barefoot in the grass, anything that helps you to sort of root again, to connect to your foundations, and anything in terms of family or relationships. Again, everything that revolves around this card speaks to steady foundations. And when you ask for help from the Earth Fairy, this is where you can get that help. And that, of course, is exactly what the rest of the deck was talking about. Oh, sorry guys if that interrupted. I had a call coming through here. So we're also speaking to the Death card. And of course, we all know the regular traditional Death card is about deep transformation, which I already saw there in the other deck. So it has erupted here again, and it did come through with the same sort of message here that you're going through. You're undergoing a very deep transformation. There's a new sense of power within you because this is a marker of transformation and change of your attitude. Change due to, being introspective. There's a lot more lessons here that you've learned. You're rising above. You're feeling more renewed. There's a sense of life that's returning. This is having gone through a darker period of your life and gone through a significant amount of change that is now, where you've shown courage in the face of the difficulty, but there's also a sense of surrender. Because you're now going to be starting a new beginning with new challenges. But you have learned a lesson that seems to be in around communication and learning when to disengage and not take on all the battles in the same way. So when we get to the energy of the frog, this is the energy, of course, of renewal, getting rid of anything that was holding you back. It's cleaning the house. It's getting rid of baggage. It's finding a declutter. It's finding declutter in the head, the home, the heart, all of those things. Getting rid of things that are holding you back doesn't mean you just chop everything out. You can be just starting to do that in this energy now in September, but it's also about realizing that it's weighing on you in some way. So you're now starting to look for more support in your surroundings by removing things that no longer are allowing you to feel new and refreshed or fresh. You want new things to come into your world, and able to do that, you have to be able to exit some of the old. Okay, so now we're into the space of the mystery. So there's still some things that are kind of burgeoning here. Again, it's like the Hierophant or the High Priestess energy. So there's still something here that's going to be coming through about a journey that is unknown to you at this time. So there are things that are being created, but they're not yet formed enough for you to be able to see or understand, what potential or power is in them. So right now, things are just, it's the energy of forces and things lining up, still trying to coordinate. You don't fully understand how it's going to all unravel, but it is going to help you to feel, like you're on purpose, or things are going to have a more purposeful outcome up ahead. You're not quite in that space yet. You're in the space where the mystery is only going to reveal itself, not when you want it or when you demand it, but it's in a space of, obviously divine timing. And it's also kind of outside any human influence is what the card, indicates. And it's not within the realm of understanding on a mental level at this point, because you're on that path, but you're not really seeing how it makes any sense yet. So just keep going, trust that thread is moving you onto the correct path. So there's still some kind of big mystery reveal that will be coming out here. But you're definitely in the space of the owl. So you're in that place of promise because of wisdom and really relying on a lot of your knowledge to outwit those that are deceptive around you. So if you were in any way, let's say somebody gives you information on a timeline that's negative. In that instance, you're seeing the negative on that timeline. It doesn't mean that the whole of the situation indicates that is what things will be further out. But when you're looking at it from that one moment in time, it appears to be something that's negative, possibly, with the deception. But when you actually give it a little more time, do a little more investigation, do more exploration, weigh the pros and the cons, you're going to see it's not quite the untruth that somebody might be telling you. You just have to give it a little bit of time, but explore it, because sometimes truth is camouflaged, and sometimes the deceit, everybody has an agenda. So, and that's not to say it's a bad thing. Just, it's to say that we all have some truth that we feel that you should come in for us to, help us to place ourselves in a certain position in life. So, we create our own prisons, as they say, and we also create our own expansion based on what we believe to be true. So you can be an ally to yourself, or you can be an enemy to yourself. See through what is really there, but use your discernment. Again, it's using knowledge. It's not trusting everything at face value just because somebody says it's so. You want to do a little bit more weighing on that situation. Anyway, into joy. Joy means there is going to be some level of celebration here in the month of September. It's also an indication that there is either a project or some kind of a goal that is going to be coming through, or something of a blessing where there's going to be a little bit of, beauty or something that makes you feel a lot happier in this month. So there is some kind of a blessing or something that's, is going to be coming through here also. So we also have the Wind Fairy, and this one is all about things around, thoughts, words, intellect, and analysis. So, are you reflecting on things that are empowering you or disempowering you? Are you adding more negatives, which are disempowering you, or are you seeing it for what it is? When you observe something, you want to look at what you're predominantly thinking, is what the card speaks to. So you have to change the way that you think and able to change the world of its outer conditions. And so this is where you're being analytical, but it's a well thought out strategy as well that is not impulsive, and it's a think before you act kind of energy here in the month of September. So again, even with that death and transformation card, there could be an indicator here with the Hermit, again, that you're still in a space of really trying to resolve things. Could be, again, a little more laid back, pulled back with that Four of Swords. And we also have something here around a younger person. Could be, doesn't have to be infant child, but just a younger person here that is trying to release some baggage as well, and trying to work through that. So now we're into the next deck here, last ones here, guys, and then I'm wrapping it up. Okay, so now we're into the energy of, this is starting out with the Wandering Lion. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the deck on this one here too. I don't use this one a lot, but this is the lessons that are coming through for you, and this is the Oracle of the Seven Energies. So call it Baron Reed. So with this one, waking up the lion is you realizing that, it's taken a lot of courage to move forward. It's also, this is the lessons that you've learned in this month up until this point. So it's about stepping into the unknown, facing the things that you had to face. And when everything was in chaos, you were able to remain bold and strong, and, you were there for yourself. You had a deep trust. You were a lot more certain than you thought you could be. And that is what led to some successful actions in the month of September. It's kind of that finalizing of, your own power here. And you can be proud of those things, because now you're becoming something that's even stronger today than you were yesterday. So you faced a lot of physical obstacles, or a lot of emotional obstacles and reactions and tempers and whatever, but you did everything with courage and integrity. So we're also into taking a higher view. So the lessons you've also learned to this point is that you're able to stand above things and really see through the smoke and mirror. This is a time where you're able to not be attached to things. You actually had the ability to remain above the circumstances and see from a higher perspective. So this is also where you didn't react in an automatic way. You were able to avoid triggers and not repeat some patterns here. You were letting go of that name, blame, gaming, game, that kind of thing. And you were able to move to higher ground. And again, it's about being mindful and experiencing life as in a more graceful sort of way. So you created a little bit of distance, most likely here, with this card. And it's about, again, thinking before responding. So into the next card. Again, the lesson that you have learned this month is also seem to have been around your roots, and this is around family. This is where you realize there's abundance. There's more here than meets the eye. This is that space where you've got a level of security in your roots, in your stable relationships. You can trust or feel a lot more secure anchoring yourself there. And it's also about, realizing that you can manifest your intentions in more of a safe haven. It's more of a grounded energy where you can thrive or grow, certainly because it is rooted in good, solid thinking. It's unshakable. This is you being grounded, and whatever decisions you made, you did them in a very grounded way. You may have had moments of out of control, but you reined it in, and everything resolved itself in by September anyway. Okay, and again, it's going to be a different timeline for all of you. You don't all make same decisions, same day, that kind of thing. But either way, quieting the mind. So this is the lessons that you've learned. You've learned how to commit to yourself and create more of a meditative space, how to create more peace within chaos. You have figured out some ways to let go of the monkey mind and become more mindful. So when things were all chaotic and overwhelming, this is you being committed to you and realizing that take deep breaths, slow it down, pull back, see the challenge for what it is. What are your resources? You were able to take an internal break and then let everything sort of fall into place. So then we're into just the last few cards out here, guys. So earth magic. Some things I feel, take a little bit of, I guess, universal energy to kind of create that magic. And this is where you become a part of that universal energy. So when you were in a dark space, this is where you were able to gather and rely on that energy. So whether you did this through, energy work, focused intention, I feel like you've been doing things in a sense of slowing down or quieting the mind and focusing the energy to bring about the result of what you were hoping to achieve in August or September. There's also something about, watering the good thoughts and weeding through the darker stuff and, believing in more of the magic of our lives, realizing that we are not our problems. We're bigger than what the problem is. You can imagine greater things than what a problem is. A problem is an obstacle, but life is more expansive and has more moves and maneuvers and more options than we know of. And when you're open to that, you see more options. Anyway, into a powerful move. This is the lesson you've also learned up until this point, August to September. You've learned how to take action and move with purpose. This is about you're setting out an intention and you put yourself into a time of rest where you take deliberate action. You're recognizing that you have self-worth and that every step that you make, or a lot of the steps that you're making now, are with thoughtfulness and purpose, and that you're doing what needs to be done, and you're really being true and acting with a sense of awareness, and that's putting ideas into action. When we get to the final card out, the lesson that you have learned to date is number 22, which is tender embrace. This is a more compassionate kind of energy. You've learned how to be more compassionate. You've learned how to be tender, with your emotions toward others. You are in a space of wanting to make a difference in the world, and you're doing things in a very deliberate way. There's a sense of gratitude, and you're looking at your life saying, where can I be kinder? How can I be kinder? This is a space of being more compassionate towards yourself, towards others. It's accepting others, accepting yourself. to a certain degree, it's also looking at a situation knowing that if you can accept that someone is, in some difficult space, and you're not resisting what they're going through, you may be able to have more influence in terms of knowing how to separate yourself from the situation emotionally enough so that you can actually create more help to the person. So lessening the suffering in the world, lessening the judgment, that you're putting out, because that helps you to express yourself, and it also allows for more miracles to arise here. This is releasing yourself from burdens of judgment, perfectionism, and practicing self-compassion. Amazing lessons learned. Anyway, that's what I have for you, folks, and I guess we will leave it at that. So until next read, that's what I have for the month of September 2023. Keep moving forward and never give up. I know these are very challenging times from people. I've heard from a lot of people, a lot of the difficulties that they're facing. Just know that you're not alone. We're all in this together. And, holding up support to each person allows, things to have a trickle effect. And as well, even though the money may not be there for a lot of people, or maybe the resources don't appear to be there, when you calm yourself, focus on making 100 calls, in a week to figure out your resources or what is actually available to you. Quiet the mind so that you actually have a chance to make a difference in your own world. So, and again, step out of your own way. A little bit of self-sabotaging energy here this month, but for the most part, it's all mental energy. Nothing that you can't fix or control. Anyway, that's what I have for you. Until next read.